So what we want to do tonight, I want to talk about vaccines. All right. Number one point that I like to point out is this: that I like to write these little tips for you guys to drive home the point. And this first point is that we have to remember this is very different than what we've been going through. This is very different than what we were going through in the past. The entire U.S. is now an epicenter. So it's not like it was hot in New York in the spring, right? And then they got over it, and then New Jersey, and they got over it in Pennsylvania, got over it, right? And then it came down to the South. And in Houston, it got up to 1,700 cases a day back in July. And I said, fuck this shit. I'm leaving. And I went to Albuquerque. Now, yesterday, LA hit 7,000 cases. So we would never thought we would get to these numbers. We panicked in July when we got to 75,000 cases and was warning people that we could get to 100,000 cases a day in the United States. And now we are at an average 7-day of 190,000 cases. And for the last several days, we've been over 200,000 cases a day, 200,000 cases a day. And we're going to fly through this. So this number one, while you guys sit there and might go, what's the big deal? Dude, this changes everything. This changes everything, okay? So back in when this all started, we were all loving it on New York. And they were running out of personnel. They had nurses from Phoenix and Houston and other parts of the country going to New York to work in New York hospitals. And then when Phoenix caught on fire and Houston caught on fire, we had Northeastern nurses come down and work in Houston hospitals and Phoenix hospitals. But now the entire United States is an epicenter. When Houston got hot with 1,700 cases in July, I left the oven. I said, fuck this shit. I left the oven, went to Albuquerque. But where am I supposed to go now? Because New Mexico is on fire. I mean, you can't escape it when it's all on fire. Oh, and I tested myself too, so that's why I could go. So some people are like, well, why are you leaving in July when it's a pandemic? Well, because I can test myself, and I tested all my friends and family, everyone I stayed with, visited. And that's actually the dirty secret. I'll do that in another video on that, is we have to change our testing strategy. But tonight we're going to talk about vaccines real quick, okay? So vaccines. Number 2. All right. Why should you not be counting on vaccines? Now, let me say something real quick, because like the wording out of our nation's capital and our leadership is not strong enough. And I understand they're trying to get people to stay positive, not panic. And they're saying things like, vaccines are right around the corner. Vaccines are just hold on for a few more months. Listen, that's the wrong verbiage. Trust me, I deal with a lot of bariatric patients. The obesity community is like, what? They are so, I love them. Hey, listen, I tough love you. I love you, but they are some screwed up people. So you have to be very blunt. This is why y'all love me. I'm very blunt. I don't mince my words, all right? I say drink 8 bottles of water, motherfucker. I say green smoothie. You want to lose weight? Green smoothie. I don't want to hear that you're hungry or blah, blah, blah. So my wording is very strong. I'm right to the point. So I deal with a lot of psychology, human psychology. So I'm going to tell you, when the leadership says, hold on, vaccines are right around the corner, we got treatments coming, we have remdesivir, we have this, people let down their guards. The natural human psychology, Uncle Billy's sitting there going, yeah, well, the vaccine's right around the corner, like, I'll be all right, right, I'll be all right, like, oh, it's no big deal, it's overblown, I want to go to the bar, I want to go to the restaurant. Listen, it's the wrong message. It's kind of like, I have a 4-year-old daughter. And so you kind of want to tell her that, you don't want to tell her that there's dessert first. You want to surprise her with a dessert. You want her to eat her veggies first and then have dessert, right? So, and surprise her with dessert. So you don't want to tell people, I know this sounds horrible. You want to tell them like, dude, eat your vegetables, man up, woman up. It's time to adult. It's time to be an adult and do what you're supposed to be fucking doing. And then in 3 months go, oh, by the way, we have this vaccine. We've been working on this vaccine and we're ready to dispense it. But no, we have to have Operation Warp Speed. We have to have, trials and I get it, right? But now what happens is the verbiage is like, just hang on, it's all right. What happens is people will sit there and start going like I can take my foot off the pedal. I can let my mask down. I can let my guard down. And that's what we don't want to do. So here's what I'm going to talk about. Why you should not count on vaccines. We are starting to see this, okay? Right? Love you, but this is the truth right here. The vaccine manufacturers are starting to adjust their numbers. They originally said 100 million doses for Pfizer. Now they're down to 40 million doses. And they've decided on, Pfizer is the vaccine that has 2 doses. So you have to get the shot and then come back. So let's do the math again for you guys real quick. UK just approved the Pfizer vaccine with first shots coming out on Tuesday, and as early as Tuesday. And they've decided they're going to give it to people over 80 years old and high risk. And then what's left over, if there's anything at the end of the day that maybe they'll waste the vial if they don't use it, then healthcare workers. I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not here to judge. That's what UK has decided. Okay. America, we're a little bit behind. The FDA will probably approve the Pfizer vaccine late this coming week, which then means it will be rolled out in production the following week. So we're talking about the week before Christmas, really. Mid to late December, right? So let's do the math. Let's say you're gonna get it first mid December. You got to get the second dose 3 weeks later, which will put you around mid-January, and then it takes about a month for you to develop antibodies. And when I had to have the hepatitis vaccine for med school, I had to then go back to see if I actually had antibodies. All right, so they had to draw my lab a third time, which you know how Americans are, how people can be. They're not always the best with follow-up, okay? So now you're gonna have to have people go for their second dose, and then they have to hold off for a month to get antibodies. And rightfully, you should be checking antibodies. But that means really you're talking about Valentine's Day, right? So you really, that's the timeline, guys. So what's going to happen right now? They're already adjusting. They're already adjusting their numbers. They're like, we can't make as many as we thought. Some people argue that maybe, okay, Pfizer, you have 40 million doses. You should hit 40 million people, maybe hold a little back in reserve, but let's say 35 million people, and ramp up production. And hopefully you'll have your production up in time for the second dose. And what Pfizer has done has decided, no, we're going to assume we have 40 million doses. We're going to treat 20 million people. And then a month later, have 20 million doses available for them 3 weeks later. Does that make sense what I just said very confusingly? So instead of hitting every 40 million people and then ramping up production, and then having another 40 million ready, because you guys have to remember what Operation Warp Speed has been doing is basically they've jumped the line, the manufacturers through funding from taxpayer money, have been setting up the steps that it takes to produce these vaccine candidates, and then hoping that the trials would show that they're beneficial. So if the trials had shown that these weren't working, then they would have been fucked, right? But no, so the trials are doing good. And so they already have a batch that's ready to go, that's taken them this long to produce. So what they're basically saying is they don't think that they can't what they're saying is they can't confidently guarantee that if they use up all 40 million doses the first go around, that they'll have production capacity 3 weeks later to give them the second dose. In fact, I would argue that they're clearly signaling to us, wink, wink, that they wouldn't have it ready, right? And so both Pfizer and Moderna have lowered their projections for vaccine production, which means it's not going to be as widely available as you think. Okay? So realistically, honestly, for everyday people, they are really talking about summer. For the average person, hopefully by springtime, we'll have the Oxford vaccine ready. We'll have Moderna going, and we'll have enough production. Remember, this is a global pandemic. It's not just all about America and UK, man. It's not all about America and Europe. I mean, there are other countries we got to take care of here, and also think about this, guys. For people who are watching me in Australia, I know it's early in the morning for you guys, but if you happen to be hopping on right now, catching me, you guys did a great job. Australia, New Zealand, especially New Zealand, like squashing the pandemic. Their life has gone back to normal pretty much. You know, they're opened up. They still have to do their social distancing, but problem with that is they don't have any sort of herd immunity. In America, you know, we have 14 million. I don't know why that made me laugh. 14 million. It's just a ridiculous number. Americans who have tested positive. So they have some form of immunity. And I want to talk about immunity here because that kind of plays into this. So we don't have to quite vaccinate as many people, but it's still a lot more people than you think. Remember, I've done talks on herd immunity, and we need about at least 70% to people to take it. So to do the math easy, 70% times 300 million Americans, that's 210 million doses alone. Vaccinations, well, it's double dose, so it's 420 million doses alone. And so they're talking about 40 million doses now. So the companies have already lowered their projections on production. That should tell you something. Okay. Can't count on vaccines. All right. So number 3, and I talked about this already. Okay, shoot. I let go of my all caps. So the number 3, vaccine timelines are longer than you think. You got to remember for these 2 dose ones, you got to give it a month following that, right? So it's really a 2-month window. So we're talking really February 14th, Valentine's Day, before the first vaccinated people have immunity, right? And I'm going to get to immunity. And then they're talking about mass production for us in really May, June, July, really July, right? So if you fast forward July 4th, I love holidays, right? Independence Day. I could see Americans totally rewriting like what we've done, like Independence Day, like the movie 4th of July, we conquered coronavirus. Yes, we're regaining our independence. I mean, I'm ready for them to go ahead and start those memes, ignoring the fact that probably by that time, 500,000 Americans will have died. Probably. They're already, the head of CDC just read, Dr. Redfield this week said he thinks 450,000 Americans will be dead by February. So possibly might die. So for me to say 500,000 by July, that's not a very bullish number. I mean, it's probably going to be more than that, but it's a really horrendous number. But so July 4th, July, August, September. So now we're talking Labor Day weekend, which that's a long time, guys. We're not Uncle Billy, like Aunt Sally, Karen, I love you, but we are not nearly done with this. I don't understand why people keep saying it's a hoax, it's a fake, we're over the election. You should not be rallying. You should not be protesting results. It didn't disappear after November 4th. You know, it didn't go away. We still hear about it. More and more people are dying. I just don't understand what is wrong with Uncle Billy. Why do people think this way? All right. Eventually, and even I have friends who are working in the hospital, and there are people who are sick in the hospital with coronavirus, and they still think it's a hoax. They still think that they're going to survive this. It's really fucking sad. That just goes to show you how strong our ego is. This idea, Tony Robbins says, that we cannot, our egos will not let us be wrong. So you can't convince Uncle Billy or Aunt Sally. I hope you hit the share button. I hope you share this video, but trust me, my 1 or 2 fucks is not gonna change their behavior. You're just going to have to isolate yourself from them and send them love and blessings, and hopefully they won't catch it. Right? But it is on fire, right? The entire United States is hot. Okay. So vaccine timelines are longer than what you think. Number 4, and this is the big question we don't know about. And this is the problem with people saying, just open it up. We need to have herd immunity. We're going to walk around and have parties. We're having COVID parties. Dude, this is the dumbest thing. We don't know if you get lasting immunity from once you've had this. We actually have good cases now where people have caught it a second time. Right? We actually have the first patients who have died the second time. Does that make sense? They survived it the first time and they're going, look at me, motherfuckers. I'm Superman. I'm invincible. I should put on a cape. And then they die the second time. It's ridiculous. The truth of the matter is we don't know about lasting immunity. Well, with my test kits, these test antibodies. And so what's happening is I'm going to demonstrate the test kit on myself here towards the end. Then I'll take your questions while we're waiting on the 10-minute results. But I'm testing my friends, my loved ones, my family members, and I have a next door neighbor who she caught it back in July. And her antibodies are starting to get weaker and weaker on this test result. So we don't know if this is going to be a once in a lifetime vaccine like polio, like chickenpox, or if you're going to need boosters, or if it's going to be seasonal like the flu. Right? Now listen, I don't want to hear anybody sit there and go, yeah, it's all about the money. These drug companies are making money. And dude, these drug companies are following the science. They're trying to save your life. You don't want to take the vaccine? That's fine. Go ahead. The following question always gets pulled to me a lot. Dr. Vuong, will you take the vaccine? And the answer for me is not first. And I'm no conspiracy theory. I'm relatively young. I'm 48. I don't, I can't believe I'm 48. It seemed like yesterday I was 21 trying to get my willy wet. But, like now it's like, wow, 48. I'm glad the little toy soldier still works, man. So I can't believe I just said that. See, now you can't hit share. Some people are going to be like, hey, everybody, hit share and fast forward to the 25-minute mark. So I'm young, relatively speaking. I don't have any comorbidities. I don't take any medicines. I don't have high blood pressure. I don't smoke. I don't have COPD. My BMI is 22. I'm not overweight, So, and I have test kits, so I can test myself. So I work from home. This is my home. This is my backdrop. Let me grab a book off of my bookshelf for you. So I don't really need to go anywhere. I don't need to be the first ones getting vaccinated. Now, if you're a healthcare worker, if I was still working, I would probably take it, at least until this gets over. I don't take the flu vaccine. That doesn't mean I'm anti-vaxxer. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. It's just the flu vaccine doesn't make any sense to me. It's only 50% effective. It changes every year. It's a guess. And it's the same reasons. I'm not old. I'm not young. I don't have comorbidities, right? And I got worse and worse. Flus when they made me take it when I was a doctor. And I stopped taking it for the last 10 years, even before I retired. They couldn't make me take it. They're like, we're going to send you home. I'm like, all right, I'm a surgeon. Send me home. Of course, they never followed through with that threat, did they? So we don't know about lasting immunity with coronavirus. This is a big deal. Our best guess right now, mark my words, our best guess is 2 to 3 years. That's what we're thinking about this vaccine. The whispers behind, in the boardroom is probably every 2 to 3 years with a coronavirus vaccine. We're hoping for 2 to 3 year immunity. That's it. So I want to introduce you to a new word, 5. You're going to say, everyone knew the word epidemic. And then we learned the word pandemic. And I want to teach you a new word, which you've heard me teach you before. Oops, hold on. That's not what I wanted to do. All right, here it is. Our new word is endemic. We are going to go from pandemic to endemic. Pandemic to endemic. Endemic means it's just in our community. It's here to be with us. It's here to stay. We're not going to eradicate it. We're not going to get rid of it like smallpox. Like, we're not going to control it like polio. We still have polio in this world. It's almost gone, but there are a few flare-ups. Just like there's flare-ups of measles, chickenpox. But you'll have little flare-ups of coronavirus in the future. It will become endemic. But we'll know what to do by that point. We'll have treatments. We'll have isolation protocols. We'll have some herd immunity from vaccinations. And we'll know more about the science. But this is several years down the road. But this coronavirus is endemic. It's here to stay with us, okay? It's here to stay with us. Okay, why should you also not count on the vaccines? And one of the things that we have to overcome is this idea. For some reason, there's a very large movement in the United States of anti-vaxxers, anti-vaccines, claims that there's mercury in vaccines, that it causes autism, stuff like that. And we don't have good data that shows that. There really is. When they look into this, vaccines for the most part are very, very safe. I took all my vaccines that I had to take. I don't take the seasonal flu vaccine for the reasons why I mentioned before, but I'm not an anti-vaxxer. So part of what we're going to have to do is convince people to take the vaccine. And we really need 70 to 75% of Americans, of people, to take this vaccine. And a recent Gallup poll repolled them. The first poll showed that 50% of Americans said they would not take the vaccine. They would take the vaccine. So in other words, half people would not. That they repeated that poll, and that number is now up to 58% would take the vaccine. So now we're up to 58%, right? We're not near the 70% that's going to be required. And by this point, once the vaccine is rolled out, we're going to have 20 million positive cases. And then you tie that into, we don't know how long your immunity is going to last. And yes, I know, and I've done videos on the difference between antibodies and T cells and that sort of stuff. So there could be T cell memory. We just don't know yet. This is what's called science. And this is actually where a lot of the conspiracy theories come from, is that people don't understand just basic science. There's not like, you're not going to be tagged with a microchip. There's not nanotechnology robots inside the vaccine. I don't know what's wrong with you, Uncle Billy, right? And you are correct. It is your God-given right to refuse a vaccine. That's actually one of the reasons why I got out of medicine too. It's a minor reason. But every year they got tougher and tougher of trying to force the flu vaccine on me. I'm like, dude, the flu vaccine doesn't work for me. It makes me sicker and sicker. I don't want it. And eventually I just said, meh, I make enough passive income with book sales that I don't have to work. I'm not big baller. I'm not like killing it, but I'm not going to lose my house either. So I was like, baby, let's just be all right. So we don't really have the nano robot technology yet. That's coming. It is in the future. It's just not here yet. And then to be able to inject it through a vaccine and cold temperatures, et cetera, it's not going to work. So why else should you not rely on vaccinations coming through? Is this one. And this is going to be the big one. Okay. Kind of goes back with what we said earlier. I just got finished saying is this. This is a huge logistics nightmare. To deploy the vaccines to millions of people worldwide is a logistics nightmare. It's hard. So here's the problem. Shit rolls downhill. We currently, and I'm not political, I don't care your political leanings, but we currently do not have a nationwide distribution strategy. So every state is left to fend for themselves. I'm not political. I'm just telling you, this is the state of it. And on top of that, states do not currently know how many vaccines they're getting, how many doses they're getting. Did you know that? So yeah, great, you can produce it, but if you live in Wyoming and you're a hotspot versus South Dakota versus LA versus New York City, can you imagine trying to plan something logistically, but not knowing how many supply there is? Like you open a shoe store, but you don't know how many Nikes you're getting. You're going to get some Nikes, but you don't know how many you're going to get. It's crazy. You have a coffee shop. You know you're going to have coffee, but you don't know how many cups of coffee you'll be able to serve that day, or how many cookies or biscuits you're going to get to sell that day. It's a logistics nightmare. And then you multiply that all over the place. And every state's a little different, right? You've got North Dakota, which has very few people, but they're spread out all over this huge landmass. And you don't have the infrastructure. You don't have the hospitals. You don't have the clinics. You don't have the skilled nursing to be able to put the vaccine. So what are you going to do? Are you going to move nurses and vaccines out to these rural areas, have people come down out of the mountains, give them a shot, and then repeat it again a month later and hope they come back? And what if they don't come back? You're talking about a Pfizer vaccine, which has to be stored at minus 70 degrees. It's a logistics nightmare. On top of that, you got people who don't give a fuck, people who think they're going to get injected with nanochips and nano robots. It's crazy, right? So really, what we have to do now is much stronger language than what's coming out from our leadership. We have to tell the people like it is. We are fucked. December is fucked. You cannot gather for Christmas. Watch this. They're going to sit there and go, we're going to have CDC is going to issue a strong advisory against traveling for Christmas. We need to be like, shut down the fucking airlines like you did in the beginning. Why are you trapped? We shut down the airlines when we were having 1,000 cases a day. But we have 200,000 cases a day. Let's just fly. What the fuck is wrong with us? It makes no sense. We shut down schools with 1,000 cases a day, but now we have 200,000 cases a day. Nah, let them go back. We shut down bars and restaurants. Nah, let's keep them open. And don't even fucking get me started on 10 p.m. curfew. I don't blame the restaurant owners and the bar owners. Like, why are you making me shut down at 10 p.m.? Because the virus suddenly stops working at 10 p.m.? I don't blame them for being pissed. It should be all or none. And I say all, but I honor people's opinions. You got to make a livelihood. But if you're going to tell people to shut down their businesses, our fucking government has to get their heads out of their asses and support the people. The number one mistake, we're going to look back at this, and I hate to say this. Well, I don't hate to say it because this is true. We made the same fucking mistake that we made back in 2008. Who remembers 2008? When shit hit the fan, what did we do? $800 billion that we thought, we were like, $800 billion. Oh my God, that's so much money. And what did we use that on? We bailed out the big banks. They were too big to fail. They were too big to fail. We bailed out the big banks. We bailed out the auto dealerships, the car makers, and then they got fucking record CEO bonuses. I mean, why are we not mad about this? That money should have gone to the people. This is not socialism. I'm not a socialist. I'm a refugee from Vietnam. I fled communism. I am not interested in seeing communism. I'm a capitalist. I love the American. I am the fucking American dream. So don't call me a socialist. But what we're doing is, if we're saying we have to shut down, then we need our governments to support us. I mean, that's just where it goes. But that's not what's going to happen. The $2 trillion plan, the $1 trillion plan that they passed in the spring went mostly to big companies. And what we're going to see is, when we look back at this, we're going to say we made the same fucking mistake again. We gave the money to big companies, not small businesses. There was a few, Dr. V, there was the PPP. Most of that money went to big businesses. Let's say it what it is. When that money should have just gone straight into the pockets of the people we were telling to stay home. And these businesses, what's the point of the business? Hey, listen, dude, we're going to pay all your employees. Take them off the payroll. You be good. You know, we're going to pay the landlords. So your rent's going to be covered. You know, what's the big fucking deal? It's a pandemic. But no, we pay these big businesses, and watch when the word comes out that these people got, you know, they're up for their end of the year bonuses again. They're going to get them. They're going to get these bonuses again, guys. And we're going to go, we totally fucked that shit up again. So now they're compromising on a $900 billion deal that somehow is a compromise. And we'll see what happens. Hopefully they'll learn their lessons, right? What I'm trying to say, as again, I'm not being political, but I want to be very strong in my wording. We are fucked. December is fucked. January is fucked. I would not be saying that if we had come into December with like 10,000 cases. Fauci back in September said we need to get this down to 10,000 cases. We were currently around 40,000. I said we'll be lucky if we get down to 20,000. The last thing we want to fucking be is 200,000 cases a day heading into December. Start the first week of December, 200,000, 200,000, 200. It's the last thing you fucking wanted. All right. So Uncle Billy, Aunt Sally, just mark Christmas off the calendar. We're doing it virtually. Stay your asses at home. Even if you get tested, it's not safe. I'm telling y'all. Here, let me do number 8, last one. Okay. This one is important. This is what you have to do. If they don't live in your household, if they don't live under your roof, they are positive for coronavirus. I'm telling you, Dr. Burke said last week that if people traveled and gathered for Thanksgiving, they need to assume that they are positive and they need to get tested 5 to 7 days later. That's right now. So people right now are starting to get tested, and a certain percentage of that is going to go up. Test positivity in North Dakota and Wisconsin, you know, those are 50% positive tests. So if you're testing them, they're going to turn out positive because they fucking have it. They have it. It's not due to testing. It's due to positivity rate. Okay. It's due to positivity rate. So you're going to have this huge positivity rate. And now you're going to have people scared. And now you're going to have people panicking. And now you're going to have people cursing. And now you're going to have people spreading conspiracy. See, I got it. And I got over it. I didn't die. Why the fuck did I come into this room? Oh, why do I have this chronic migraine? I didn't die. See, I got coronavirus. I didn't die. Why I can't seem to catch my breath. I can't ride my bicycle anymore. I'm short of breath. Why did I come into this room? They don't even talk about the lingering effects. They don't talk about the chronic migraines, the chronic heart inflammation, the chronic brain inflammation, the chronic, forgetfulness, the brain fog. But see, it's all overblown. Who are you again? It's stupid, right? Is that strong enough wording? Is that too strong? You know what I mean? This is where we are. This is what Jerome calls the facts. We are fucked. And it's not just Christmas, guys, because the week following Christmas, fucking New Year's, then you know who you are. If you're under the age of 50, you're looking to get you some. You're looking to find someone to kiss. Hopefully it's your spouse, but it's not always your spouse. You know who you are. You want to gather. You want to hug. You want to get drunk. You want to sing Old Lang Syne. I love that song. It always makes me cry. I have no idea what they're saying, but hearing Old Lang Syne makes me cry every time. Hey, put a one in the comment section if that song makes you cry. The New Year song, for may all acquaintance be forgot. That part makes me cry. I'm about to cry. Don't cry, Doc. Don't cry. And never brought to mind. I think it's that note. That really makes me cry. And I want that too. But I'm telling you, we can't. We can't get together for Christmas. We can't get together for New Year's. You're going to have to ring it in for all the people. Look at that. See, I knew it. Yeah, baby. See, these are good-hearted people right here. If you cry during Old Lang Syne, you're a good person. We're all crying. I'm telling you, it's tough. It's tough. All right. Doug, you should be pissed, buddy. I miss you. Stay safe. We're screwed, man. Like, it's not going to be good. And if you're just watching me now, remember, the immunity does not come. The very first people to get vaccinated will have immunity starting around Valentine's Day. We have to hold out till Valentine's Day. And even then, you still won't be able to go celebrate. Because if you do the math, and I'll just make the math easy, it's 200,000 fucking cases a day, not 200,000 total. There's 101,000 people in the hospital currently. So yesterday was 200,000 cases. Today it's going to be another 200,000 cases for a total of 400,000 cases. And then tomorrow it's another 200,000 cases, 600,000 cases. And it takes about 14 days. So what you'll see is the numbers you're seeing, the daily total. It's the 200,000 is 200,000 new tested. That's the part that people don't get. It's 200,000 new positives, not total, guys. It's not 200,000 total cases. It's 200,000 new cases. There was 200,000 new cases yesterday. There will be 200,000 new cases tomorrow. That's a total of 600,000 cases. And 10% of those will go to the ICU, will go to the hospital. That's 60,000. Come on. We're overwhelming the system. It's not going to be good. And now they're turning people away. They're turning people away. Now, listen, there's some fuckers on here, on YouTube especially, that want to stick to their conspiracy theories, want to talk about the testing is flawed, want to talk about how people are, I can't believe fuckers are still saying that people are lying about diagnosing things as COVID. My friend had a car wreck and they said he was COVID positive. Listen, dickhead, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. We lose our license when we do that. How many fucking death certificates have you filled out? It's ridiculous. Okay. There are people still trying to do stupid things like saying it's a test that doesn't work. It's false positives and false negatives and it's lab error. And I didn't even listen. Fine. Sally, Jenny, Bob, whoever the fuck you are, you're right. You're right. The tests are flawed. The doctors are lying. All right. The deaths are not that high. Okay. Let me ask you a question, dickhead. By how much? What percentage are they off? These tests are wrong by what percentage? 10%? 20%? How badly are doctors lying? How many of these deaths are really due to flu and they're being called COVID? Give me a guess, dickhead. 10%? Well, I got news for you. 10% of 270,000 deaths is 27,000. You still have 243,000 people that are dead. How do you feel now? No, it's much higher, Dr. V. You're a fearmonger. It's really 50%. You can't even do 50% of 270,000, dickhead. It's 135,000, by the way. So you're telling me 135,000 people, that somehow makes you right, makes you justified. It's ridiculous. These tests are wrong. There's 14 million cases, 15 million cases. All right, Uncle Billy, you're right. It's a lie. It's still 7.5 million cases if you divide it by 2. The numbers are so fucking large now. You just look like a dick. You just look like a punk. You just look silly. You look sad. And no one fucking cares. We're all tired of it. It's not political. Uncle Billy, it didn't go away on November 4th. What is wrong with you? Oh, it's only because all these big farmers gonna make billions of dollars, trillions. No, they're gonna make trillions of dollars. Who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? You shouldn't listen to Dr. V. He's selling rapid tests. Yes, I'm selling rapid test kits. Why? I can get them. I went to school for years to know what to put in here. Your Uncle Billy cannot get you these test kits. And you take it at home in 10 minutes to give you results. You don't have to sit in line. And I'm giving you just enough so I can make a little bit of money. So I can pay my friends to fucking pack these together. And guess what else, Uncle Billy? There are not enough tests to go around. These numbers are so large. There are not enough tests to go around. Why the fuck do you think people are lining up 5 hours early before these testing centers open? You look like a dick, Uncle Billy. You sound like a buffoon. Stop it. And if you don't want to stop it, then fucking you just can't come over. You can't stay. You can't come in. I don't know what else to tell you. We can't be friends. I can't talk to you. You can't come over next year for Thanksgiving. Mostly because you'll be chronically ill from surviving coronavirus. You'll have chronic memory loss. You'll have a chronically bad heart. You know what I'm saying? That's all right. But you're right, Uncle Billy. You survived it. Good for you. And what you forget. Hey, listen, guys. Dr. V pulls one on you. Uncle Billy's only 48. Uncle Billy's 48. He can't breathe. He's got no money in savings. He is fucking on disability. He can't work. His wife just left him for his older brother, his younger brother. It's always the younger brother. Uncle Billy's wife, Aunt Sally, just left him for Uncle Joe. Uncle Billy's only 48. See, you think Uncle Billy's 70, but he's not. Uncle Bob, who is 70, is scared to smithereens because he's seeing his friends drop dead. He's realized he's 70. He knows he's got a limited amount of time. He knows that, if he gets it, he probably won't survive it. But Uncle Billy's only 48. And next year, you're going to have a whole bunch of Uncle Billies who can't work, who can't breathe. They can't work because they can't breathe. They can't work because they have chronic migraines. They can't work because they've got chronic inflammation around their heart. They're in heart failure. They have chronic lung disease. We have a post-COVID syndrome, motherfuckers. We have a post-COVID syndrome that also includes diabetes. What the fuck is that all about? How the fuck is a virus causing diabetes? I don't know. Remains to be seen. See, I haven't even talked about that. You guys are just here for the curse words. But think about that. Think about this. This is why y'all love me. I call the shit like it is. Uncle Billy's only 48. We're going to have a whole generation, and not just Uncle Billy, their whole family. They can't work. And Uncle Billy and Aunt Sally. They went from 2 incomes barely making it to 2 disability incomes. And they have kids. Their kids are 15 years old and morbidly obese because they had to have the latest Nintendo, Xbox, Game of Jiggy, Game of Thrones things. I don't know. I don't play video games. But you get the idea. And they can't do simple math because they've been homeschooled for the last year. All right. Hey, listen, I love you guys. And as always, love and prayers to our healthcare workers.